Happy Monday afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us. Dustin Nielson, Tom Gazzola with you here on the Oil Stream, presented to you by Boston Pizza. Be like the Nielson family and order Boston Pizza for dinner. I think we had it 2 days ago. I went with the Meteor Pizza. Kids went Bugs and Cheese. Oh, it was, when was it? Was it Saturday? When did I get home? Where was I Saturday?
You were in Winnipeg?
I got home. I can't remember when I came home.
You were in Winnipeg.
I was in Winnipeg.
I watched that game.
Oh, yeah, I was in Winnipeg. So I came home Saturday. So we had Boston Pizza Saturday night.
Yeah.
Yeah, the kids were absolutely loving it. How can you not love a little Boston pizza with the family? And, of course, with the weather we've got, boys are saying it's going to heat up again here right away.
Yeah, I saw Josh Clausen say we had a temporary reprieve.
Damn it.
I enjoyed it, but now I think collectively in our city and area, we know how to handle it. We've been through it. Hopefully our stupid grid and how we use it is figured out.
So what happened? We lost power? Which night was it? I wasn't here.
There were rolling blackouts, but then like downtown where we are.
Hate the rolling blackouts.
There was a breaker went. And it caused good on Epcor, tip of the cap to them. They got it fixed in
My wife was without
45
power for like 4 hours on
and
Friday night, Thursday,
but
Friday
like,
night?
it's I don't want to complain about infrastructure, but it's incredible.
Hey, you're a downtown taxpayer, buddy. You complain about whatever you want.
I pay a lot of taxes now. I pay a lot of taxes, and I'm not happy. I understand people now being a homeowner. The BS that comes with it.
It does suck, doesn't it?
Oh, it sucks.
It's like when you rent, you're like, but then you're paying somebody else's mortgage, but then you get your own mortgage. You're like, my God, there's so many costs.
This is live in your money, Matthew Wanick told me.
Is that what do you say? Live
in your money.
Live in your money.
Yes. He's ignoring me.
Live in your money. That's what a classic Matty
phrase.
But
it is true. It is true. Anyway, just this time around with the heat, we should be prepared. That's all I'm saying. I'm looking on the bright side.
Good news around here is that the air conditioning appears to be fixed. There was a guy here today. I think he listens to the show, but he never said he listens to the shows.
Oh.
Because he came in, and I was walking him around. I was like, hey, here's this. And then we went into Maddie's office. And here in Maddie's office, it gets really warm. And he goes, he has his own office? So it's like he was familiar with us at least.
All right.
But they said, keep the fan on. Everything should be blowing good. So when this next heat wave hits, I think the EST offices, I don't want to jinx it.
It's been really comfortable today.
It's chilly in here right now.
Oh, I like it.
It's perfect. If it can stay like this for the next 4 days or whatever, it's going to be great.
Shout out to the crew that's fixing the AC unit. I think they came in last week. And they said, we have two in this building. One was working. The other one was down.
The thermostats?
No, the
ACs. Yeah.
So shout out to the crew. Thank you.
Anyway, we're back, baby.
We're back.
We won't have all those sweaty shows again. We won't be Gager coming straight out of the kitchen at Commonwealth.
How about him ghosting us when we were texting him yesterday? And then he finally gets around to it.
He's in the kitchen.
He's like, oh, we were in lock. But I texted him at like
Have you not
noon.
watched The Bear?
No, I have not watched.
You can't have your phone in the kitchen. Everybody's yes, chef, no chef, walking chef, corner, like hot plate.
Corner,
like,
I know.
This is what Gager's doing in there. He can't be on his phone the whole time.
He was a poopy pants yesterday. And then I didn't get a chance to see him. Hopefully next game.
All right, if you were listening, with that being said, EST was all over Commonwealth.
Yes.
You were there.
Oh, yeah.
Belsey was there. Maddie and Jay came over after doing pre and then left to do post. Acticum and Trev were in the tailgate. Lieutenant Eric is just in various places.
Oh, he was
all
bouncing.
over the place. AM Nasties are everywhere. And our new photo wall is up.
I want to go see the photo wall. My seats are on the west side.
On the other side,
This is the first game I got to sit in them, which was great.
East Concession by the Legends Club.
I'm going to go visit it. You're back on the next home game?
The 28th, yes.
I'm back as well. I got the next
there we
two.
go.
I'm very excited about it.
That'll be fun.
But yeah, nasty representation all around that damn stadium. And I was like running for drinks. I had glasses and the hat on, but I had the EST green and gold hat on.
Ah, yes, nice.
But I'd be like, hey, Gazzola! Yeah. And then I was getting updates on like things I had missed, and then just a bunch of nasties being nasty.
I signed an autograph on the field after the game.
Nice.
Yeah, it was a little kid.
It counts.
It was still great. Marshall was like, Daddy, that was so cool. I was like, wow,
you're the man.
That is kind of neat.
It is awesome.
But I screwed up on it.
Why?
Well, because they gave me a Sharpie. It was on one of those yellow and green little squishy Elks footballs.
Yep.
And I went to do my regular signature, but it was on like the edge, and I slipped.
Tough. Oh,
I slipped, and then I had to try to correct it. It was
Just
a mess.
go with it. DVD, who bought half of my seats.
Did he?
I kept my 4, but DVD bought half. He loves taking his niece and nephew to games. He came out yesterday. Larry Ring was with us. He's in town, and so DVD brought his nephew Emerson. All he wanted was to watch the game and hope the Elks win, because he's very much starting to discover and love football. American and Canadian. Relax here.
I love both leagues.
They're both, and you can do that. I know it's mind blowing, but
it's crazy
you can
to
like
think.
both leagues. And all he wanted to do was catch a ball. And there's so many kids there. And I know the Elks scored 4 touchdowns, and he didn't catch one. He had caught one last season, but he wanted the new one. And finally, on that last TD, it was Ryder who I caught the ball from. Ryder, he wanted to chuck it, and it kind of slipped out of the side, and it went right a few seats over, and I ran because people had already left. Dove, caught it, gave it to Emerson. He was very happy.
That's outstanding.
I felt very good.
You're a hero. You're a hero.
Nah, just happy to be there.
That's a real good time. Real good time.
Now, what if I had kept the? No, I would never keep a football.
You keep the ball?
Never ever. Like if I've seen a few guys that have like 5 of them, and it's like, what are you doing with that?
Like as adults.
Yeah, like
Maybe they have 5 kids. Maybe they're taking it home. Maybe they're just hogging them for themselves and sell them on eBay at a later moment for $5.
Yeah.
You never know with the eBay now, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Or a Facebook market.
It is the Oil Stream brought to you by Boston Pizza. We are going to have a guest on the Oil Stream today. Who are we having on from Locked On Sens?
Ross Levitan, who used to be TSN 1050, I believe, as well.
All right, so Ross Levitan's going to join us. We'll find out exactly what the Oilers are getting in Roby Jarventie.
Jarventie?
It always looks like Roby to me.
It does look like Roby.
Roby Jarventie.
Oh, hello, Roby.
That's a soft J. Jarventie.
It has to be. It
has to be. Pull you Yarvi. Jarventie.
Yeah, exactly.
So we'll find out. Basically, Tommy, you did some snooping around.
Yeah.
What was the main driver behind this deal?
I was told 2 prospects in need of fresh starts, and then the Oilers also get a pick back for Chaisson. So, Chaisson, Zach DeCoom was talking about it on the Hangout, spent last year in the ECHL. I think he got into 1 AHL game. So maybe not a future for him in the organization moving forward. And then they convert that into a pick. And then 2 prospects in Bourgault and Jarventie getting fresh starts with new organizations.
What didn't happen with Bourgault?
He didn't take the next step last year.
That was it. That was the make or break year.
Yeah.
Statistically, his year last year sucked.
Last year, going into training camp, what I was told, again, this is what I was told and passing it along to you. This is what I was, the information I was given. They were looking for him to take advantage of power play minutes, top 6 minutes, become a reliable scorer, put up points, improve on the numbers he had the year prior. It didn't happen. It didn't happen. It wasn't working. And so they decided to move on. That's the fresh start that is being provided to Xavier Bourgault, and then Jarventie getting one here with the Edmonton Oilers.
Played 7 games last year. Obviously, 7
assist.
NHL games with Ottawa would be different than finding games with this Edmonton team right now.
He's a prospect. If anybody's going, boy, I wonder where he fits into the Oilers lineup this season, it'd be like nowhere.
With that being said, if you don't think on my mix and match Monday lineups,
I hope you have
week,
him in there.
I'm not putting him in. You're nuts. You realize
nuts.
how many different days? I got to run by today's.
A guy like that, Dusty, like he was basically a point-a-game guy in the AHL. I think he only played 22 AHL games this past season, 7 NHL games. 20 points, if I'm remembering correctly, looking through his stats earlier. And maybe he's a guy that if they run into injury situation and they need a call-up, they could bring up. But you would think with Savoy here now, he's probably the first call. Or if they're looking for something different, Jarventie's a bigger body, left shot guy, winger, as opposed to Savoy, smaller, right shot, center, wing, kind of creates from wherever he can. They have options. So
Xavier Bourgault, his last 2 years, his last 3 years, you go back to his final year in the Q, 75 points in 43 games. First year in Baco, 34 points in 62 games. This year, 8 goals, 20 points in 55 games. So they'd seen enough of what they want to. I'll always remember him as the guy that they traded out of the Jesper Wallstedt pick and then took a couple picks down.
But apparently, yeah, no, that's fair.
Yeah. I was always like, now Skinner's emerged, but at the time you're like,
are we talking about Wallstrom?
No, Wallstedt, the goaltender. Jesper Wallstedt.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, at the time, you weren't sure what Skinner was going to be.
They wanted Kosa.
Well, but he was long gone.
I know.
Yeah.
And that became an issue. And they didn't, apparently the interviews and some of the reports on Wallstedt weren't great. I remember that because I'm like, why is this happening?
Yeah, I remember sitting at that draft being like, wow.
Yeah.
Did this guy just fall to them? And then they traded out of the pick, and I was like,
Correct.
And then Minnesota used the pick on the guy that I thought was like, there's no way he's going to fall to them.
Right.
And he did.
Right.
So, actually, it wouldn't have been in that. Was that the... What was the 20? Where was the 21 draft? Would it have been
Vancouver.
a COVID? Was that a COVID type draft, or were we out of the pandemic?
I got it.
Anyway, wherever I was watching it, I was like stunned, and then they didn't take him. I was like, what the hell? And now Bourgault obviously hasn't panned out, but they're going to try. They're going to try something fresh and see where it goes. If you want to chime in, 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999. We'll get to some of your text messages as we work our way through the show. If you're watching over on YouTube today, hammer the thumbs up for us. Give us a sub to the channel. Almost to 9,500 subs. That's just around the corner. So hammer the sub button for us if you're watching over on YouTube. Zach, let us know when we're ready to go, and we'll bring in our guest today. Well, go ahead, Tommy.
That was the COVID draft. It was 21.
Okay, so that's why I would know. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I was wondering. I was like, I remember it, but I don't remember actually being there for that one.
Yeah.
All right. From Locked On Sens, Ross Levitan joins us to. This kind of caught us off guard today. Nobody's really expecting a deal to be made here, but it was. So this is a lot of fun. Ross, how you doing, buddy? Thanks for the time today.
Hey, Dustin, Tom, how are we doing, fellas? Really happy to be on with you.
Man,
all right.
Jeff Jackson just keeps giving us content every week, so it's awesome. As soon as I saw the trade today, I was like, yes, 5 straight days of talking about American Hockey League trade, but here we are. Tell us a little bit about Jarventie. Why would he be a guy who needs a fresh start right now from the Ottawa Senators?
Well, the timing worked out pretty well for us too, Dusty. We just had the head coach of the Belleville Sens, David Bell, on with us this morning, and after we finished recording, I said, man, I forgot to ask you about Roby. And he kind of smirked like, hey, he maybe already knew by then. But look, Roby was a guy who, when he was drafted, was one of the youngest players in the draft. He's an August birthday. So, look, kind of like with Bourgault, where a lot of people point out the guy who went next, Wyatt Johnston. We had a bit of that similar situation in Ottawa because they drafted Tim Stützle third that year. And then his best buddy from the German team, JJ Peterka, goes 1 pick later. So a lot of Sens fans were comparing the two, and it's like, oh, man, Peterka had 28 goals last year. What could he have done on Stützle's wing? So is that why he needs a fresh start? Probably not. But where I do think it will benefit Jarventie is you kind of get the wheels stuck in mud at the AHL level when you're in the same spot for that long. It's a grind. He just finished his 4th season in the American Hockey League, and he's still only 22 years old. So he was the youngest player in the league the first year. And you know what I mean? Just eventually you just need to spread your wings. He got that taste last year in the NHL. Didn't do a whole lot with it, but I like the upside of this player. Heck, he had 20 points in 22 games when he was healthy at the start of last year. Another issue, knee problem. That's what knocked him out for the rest of the year. And from what I'm hearing, he has not skated in full gear since. So
And when did that injury occur? I'm just curious.
22 games into the season, so you're looking early November, maybe mid-November. Heard he's trying to get on the ice with tracksuit right now and then kind of working his way back. So will he be at training camp? I can't answer that question, but he still has so much runway that with him, you're getting a guy who we call him Red Light Roby when we were following him with Eels in Liga.
Hey.
Like, this guy can shoot the puck, man. He's got a wicked release, and when he's on his game, like we always had him as like a 20-goal potential guy at the next level.
20 points in 22 games until that knee injury, Ross. And he's a left winger. He's a bigger body guy. Like, how would you describe his style of play where, Oiler fans might be going, well, he just gave a first rounder in Bourgault with offensive upside for what? What would you tell them?
Yeah, you're getting a guy where when it clicks, you can see enormous potential. He's a big, lanky kid. He's about 6'3", 6'4", but he's definitely not touching 200 pounds yet. So I think there's still room for him to get physically stronger. And if that's the case, that's kind of what's missing from his game is kind of that down low battle board play. He has so much talent, though. I mentioned our conversation with David Bell. He said he's one of the most talented players he's ever coached just on pure skill alone. Says these little plays, like he'll use his butt end to lift a stick in a battle or whatnot, just like little kind of intricate plays that don't show up if you're just watching the highlights, but that create good opportunities for his team. Former Senator that he reminded us of is Mike Hoffman, where it's like all of a sudden you'd be like, he didn't have a great game, and then he has 2 goals. You're just like, he's not always away from the puck, but all of a sudden you give him a little bit of space, and obviously we know the playmaking talent that the Oilers have. There's definitely potential for him to pop off, I think, as an offensive point producer, where he might give a bit back defensively, but if he does kind of evolve the way that the Oilers expect him to, he'll be an offensive contributor and a power play one-timer guy on his offside.
What's the current status of like the Sens pipeline? How would you describe that?
Under construction. How about that, Dustin? Right? Like they got the new ownership comes in. They bring in their own guys. You guys know Steve Staios well, and it's kind of, not a surprise that he goes to his old stomping grounds. And, obviously he's got intimate knowledge of these players who he watched, I'm assuming, for a year or two while he was with the Oilers. And I think they're trying to massage the pipeline into what they look for. 2 years ago, when the Chychrun trade went down, Pierre Dorion, who talk about great for content, boys. I mean, this guy had enough content for days. So Dorion was very quick to say, hey, in the Coyotes trade where they gave up a first and 2 seconds for Chychrun, that Sogard and Roby Jarventie were off limits, Tyler Clevin as well. So he had him as an untouchable. Then you get the new management in, and all of a sudden, 10 months later, he's on the move. So I think what they're trying to do is build an identity to what they want the team to look at going forward. And I think that you're looking for more kind of, I know this trade doesn't necessarily indicate that, but you look at their draft, the average of their guys drafted was 6'4", 210. Like they want big guys in the system that can skate and move. And I think that there was a little bit of runway left with Roby. I got to be honest, boys. Like I'm a little surprised that they pulled the trigger here. I don't know if they know something about the injury that I don't, but I think on a pure talent perspective, Ottawa's giving up a pretty promising player in this deal.
Interesting. And we saw it with Connor Brown. It took a full calendar year for his knee to get better. If he's dealing with this same situation, Ross, and he needs time to get back on the ice, and if he's trying to get back on with a tracksuit, then this season might even be a bit of a write-off, and we're not talking about Jarventie till training camp 2025. So big body guy, but gangly, skinny. So we're talking about a couple of years of patience with this guy is what you would tell people around oil country.
Yeah, exactly. Like, don't expect it to be make or break next year.
Right.
But hey, sorry, boys. I was just pulling up here my our latest top 10 prospects for the Sens. And we had Jarventie at number 5 in February. So middle of the pack in a prospect pool that maybe doesn't have as much top end talent. But yeah, I would say look at the age and don't look at the draft year, because him and Bourgault, who went one draft later, they were a month away from being in the same draft. So don't look at it like you're giving up a younger asset and, he's already above the hill. I think it could take 2 or 3 more years before Jarventie really kind of finds his stride, because the hardest thing coming over to the smaller ice is those little zone plays with the battles and all that. So that's where he's got the most work to do. And of course, defensively. But if you're looking at this trade just on tools, it evaluates pretty high on the Oilers' end.
Can I follow up with this one for you, Ross? With Jarventie, and we've seen this with some Euros, they come over for a little bit, they give it a shot. If they feel like they didn't get a fair crack, they go back to Europe. Do you get the sense that Jarventie is the type of guy that would follow that path, or he would have the patience to stick around and put in the time in North America to try to get that shot in the NHL?
That's a very good question, Tom. And I think my answer to you would be his track record shows me that he is willing, right? Being able to battle through as many seasons in the American Hockey League. He's already played 136 AHL games.
Yeah.
That's super impressive for a guy that's not even 22 for another 3 weeks. I think that you're already he's already gone this far. It would be kind of a shame for him to pull the plug at this point. And he just had his first taste of NHL games where it didn't go his way, right? A -5 in 7 games, just 1 assist. I know there was bigger problems than him on the Senators at that point in time, but certainly he looks back at it and goes, hey, I need to do better when I get my next opportunity. He's the type of guy, and I know some people have completely different coaching styles, but if I was penciling him into a training camp lineup, I'd put him with one of the big playmakers just to even get his confidence back coming off of that injury if he is healthy for camp. I know you don't want to disrupt the chemistry too much and what your NHL top 9 is going to be, but even just as a little test run to see, because again, he's got the experience in North America and he does have the pure God-given ability that he should be able to produce points, whether it's on the power play or at 5-on-5. So a long-winded way of saying I think he's put too much concentration calories into making the NHL. I think he's going to stick it out at least a couple more seasons.
Ross Levitan with us here on the Oil Stream. He's from Locked On Sens. Nielson and Gazzola with the Oil Stream, presented to you by Boston Pizza. Overall, Sens off-season so far. What's the vibe been like over there, and what's the reaction been from the fans?
Boys, we're going on our 3rd straight offseason championship. Forget the Stanley Cup Finals. We got the offseason championships. 3rd time's the charm,
nice.
Right? But other than the last 2 years, right, they make the splashy DeBrincat trade at the draft in 22. Then in 23, everybody's still riding high off picking up Jacob Chychrun at the deadline. It's like, okay, enough of the lipstick and makeup moves. Now let's get the gritty, get the kind of veteran presence. On paper, they lost the Chychrun trade. There's no doubt about that. Trading him for a 33, too soon to be 34-year-old defenseman in Nick Jensen, and only getting a 3rd-round pick. But what they gave up for him under the previous management, kind of a sunk cost at this point. They're hoping that it's going to be more reliable than they've had in the past. Chychrun put up his best offensive season, was also a -30. So it was kind of like, hey, you're giving, but you're taking, whereas I think they just want the internal growth of the Sandersons, the Stutzlas, and so on and so forth down that list to take their own next steps. Like Tim Stützle, this might be the wildest stat in the NHL last year. Tim Stützle had 1 power play goal. One power play goal, and it was against the Sharks.
Doesn't
against
count.
The worst
Doesn't
team
count.
in the league.
Yeah.
That to me is just mind-boggling. So they need him to be back to his 90-point self to take a next step. And I mean, we talk about it with Edmonton all the time, and in Ottawa too. You need good goaltending. Linus Ullmark is the best bet that they've made since Craig Anderson, right? They swung and missed on Matt Murray, Cam Talbot, and Jonas Korpisalo, but all of them had sketchy track records in their own different way. Linus Ullmark's a horse I think that I'm willing to bet on at least, but I've been hurt before. Maybe I'm just ready to do it again.
The thing I wonder, though, is like, what do you bet? Are you betting on a playoff spot, or are you betting on close to a playoff spot?
You know what? Let's get past November. And I think that's been the Achilles heel the last number of years, right? They're out of it so quickly that they get these faux runs in December. They had a run at one point during last season where they're like 17-4-3, and they didn't move at all in the standings. That's like a 20-game sample. They're so far out of it at the start. We said, we spun zone it this way on Locked On Sens. We said, look, you haven't made playoffs in 7 years. We're going in with 4 series. We're breaking the season down into 7-game chunks to start the season, and they have to be above 500 at the end of it. Like, I'm not asking for first place. Yeah. Let's just at least play meaningful games into the new year and go from there. Because the Atlantic Division, I mean, Florida, Boston, Toronto, Tampa. It's been that way for the last how many years? Buffalo, Detroit, Ottawa just knocking on the door, but
can't get in.
No.
Yeah.
Knocked. They're not banging down the door at all. And they just, every year we have that. It's like the 3rd summer. Which one of these 3 teams is going to take the step? Nobody has taken the door down. So I like Ottawa in that trio of teams. I think Detroit's almost there. They need their prospects to really take a step. And Buffalo, I really don't understand. You guys are going to love Savoy. But I think that overall, you're hoping for playoffs, but I mean, I've struck out twice, boys. I'm not predicting it again.
1 year under Andlauer, if that. And like you said, Steve Staios, who left the Oilers organization. How about brick and mortar as well? What's the reception been like for Staios and Andlauer, and then getting that new arena downtown Ottawa, which is way, way better than Canada?
Yeah, way better. And you guys would know what the kind of reward is of having that new arena, the excitement. Now, of course, there's a nostalgic factor. I grew up going to the games out in Canada, and you get used to the 40-minute trip each way. But, of course, it's going to change the impact of the city. You even hear guys, Nick Jensen and David Perron, 2 of Ottawa's offseason acquisitions, they were like, look, I mean, Perron probably less because he grew up in Quebec, but they're like, look, when we come to Ottawa, we drive through cornfields. We get to a hotel on a golf course in the middle of nowhere. We go to the rink. It's already dark out at 5 o'clock.
Yep.
And then we get out of town. So it's like you're not showing off your city, which is a beautiful downtown. Lots going on. I think that it's one of the most underrated places in Canada. But when it comes to recruiting, you got nothing going on out there. So from that standpoint, I think it's huge. And Michael Andlauer, I mean, it's one of those where the bar was set pretty low when he came in. But of course, there's a ton of hope. And I think he's delivered, right? He was really passionate in his press conference when they stripped that first-round pick off of them for the Evgeny Dadonov trade debacle 2 years later. I think he's really kind of spoken for the city, and he's done a good job of bringing the Gatineau, Hull, the Quebec side over, because it's a part of the reason why when the Habs come to Ottawa, it is just a sea of blue and red. So I think they're trying to do their best to outreach over to that side of the bridge and kind of grow the Senators fan base in and of itself. But of course, the best way to do that, better than everyone, it's you got to win hockey games, and they just haven't been able to do it.
That hotel lobby bar has the worst jazz I've ever heard, and I don't know jazz, but that was bad.
You see a couple of the teams, usually they're run by the Lou Lamoriellos or the guys who have been around the block. They'll come downtown and stay at the Chateau Laurier or at the Westin.
That's where it's at.
Right, like it's just, especially in February, like you guys know when the nights are long, the days are short. It's like it gets depressing out in the cornfields.
Yeah, that would suck. Ross, this has been great, man. Before we let you go, I saw somebody over in the YouTube chat says, let's get to the important questions. I'd like to know who those bobbleheads are on the shelf in the background. Who do you got? Who do you got behind you there?
I got Brady and Timmy here. I'll show you. They got Timmy's hair's incredible. Right?
He's got a lot of room for expansion of the bobblehead wall here, though.
Well, I just moved, so I've been rolling in through this. The
busy
Sens
boy.
The Ottawa firefighters were cool enough to give us this. It's the Sens win prop last year.
Okay,
so they
that's
handed
cool.
That out. So shout out to the firefighters. And I mean, look at the flow on this guy.
Oh my God, beautiful.
Hey?
As someone who calls himself Tino Vasilino, I respect that flow very, very much.
That looks nice.
Oh
That's
yeah, look
well
at
done.
that. So
Wow.
sharp there, and he needs a big year. I know a lot of fantasy playing fans that were pretty disappointed with the only 18 goals from Stützle, and I thought he was just scratching the surface. He had a bit of an injury he was dealing with early in the year, and I don't know if it took his shot right away from him, but they need a bounce back for him if there's going to be any hope of playoff hockey in Ottawa, that's for sure.
Excellent, Ross. We appreciate the time, man. Once again, how often are you dropping Locked On Sens? Pretty much every day?
5 days a week, boys. You know the grind. Doesn't matter. It's July. We're having lots of great guests. And, like I said, it's just kind of resetting everything into next season. And we're going for third-time off-season champs. So hopefully they can roll this into the season instead. Really appreciate you guys having me, Tom, Dustin. And, I'm a big fan of the show and love what you guys are doing. So keep up the great work. And next time Sens and Oilers get together, would love to do it again.
Yeah, let's do it. We definitely will.
Absolutely.
Thanks a lot, Ross. There you go. That is Ross Levitan from
Awesome.
Locked On Oilers. Have to say this. I saw it in the chat, too. I didn't want to say this because I didn't want to put him in a bad spot, but he was an excellent guest. Excellent guest.
I told you he would be perfect.
I know. But
So
like, I
let
didn't
me
want to
see
make
if
it. I didn't
Ross
want to
is
make it
available.
awkward and be like, Ross, I just have to tell you, I very much enjoyed this conversation, and I did.
I think it's nice.
I
if
did.
you
That was
say
a great
to him.
conversation. Well, anyway, he
was great, as always.
Ross, that was an awesome chat. I wish he talked to others and moved to Edmonton. We'd hire him.
He's an Ottawa guy.
He was good. I know. But he's he was good. That was a lot of fun. If you want to chime in on anything we just discussed there, let's do it. 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999. I did think it was kind of interesting that he said in their February prospect rankings, Roby Jarventie
There we go.
was 5th. I mean, either way, now Bourgault would have been, I don't know, who do I usually look to? Low Tide does a lot of prospect
Low Tide's
rankings.
in
Like,
on that, yeah.
Bourgault is probably somewhere in that.
Would he fall to like 3 or 4?
Well, I think he'd probably be more in that 4 to 7 range right
Yeah.
now. So, look at two teams flipping their 5th or 6th best prospect and see where it goes from there. So,
Good insight, though.
yeah, great insight.
And so ACL injury. So Jarventie, like, basically, listening to Ross and the information he provided, this is going to be a write-off year for him. This is going to be a recovery year for him.
Yeah, sure sounds like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what he said. He said he got injured in November, has not skated since,
Trying
is
to skate
hoping to get back on the ice right away.
In a tracksuit.
Yeah.
Not even full gear or half gear.
Yeah, it's kind of sometimes fun to skate in a tracksuit.
It is fun, actually.
Yeah.
But so we're about 2 months roughly to training camp. I don't know what kind of, like, obviously he'd be working out. The knee would be rehabilitating and would be playing catch up. That whole leg would be playing catch up to the good leg and the good knee. That's tough.
Quickly off topic, but did you see Nick Chubb today? Like
No.
he had the knee injury.
Oh, it didn't. Wasn't that a career ender?
No. He. There's a video of him today squatting 600 pounds.
Oh, he's back.
He's back, and I'm doing the Scott Fishbowl fantasy draft right now. I got Nick Chubb in like the 11th or 12th round because
Let's
everybody's
go.
afraid of the injury. Sometimes you gotta live a risky life.
I'll tell you
and
this.
it pays off for you.
Those flights, those private jet flights down to South America, Central America for the stem cell treatment go a long way.
They work wonders.
Yeah, you hear guys don't need surgery or they recover really quickly. You go, huh?
There's other ways to go about it.
Humans are incredible. It's like, yep. But there's a lot of guys flying down for stem cell treatment for rehabilitation, and it works.
The Oil Stream with Nielson and Gazzola presented to you by Boston Pizza. Hit up a BP's Patio. Today, also portions of the Oil Stream brought to you by our great partners over at Popeyes, Louisiana Kitchen, where if you've not yet tried the boneless wings, you are missing out. They come in all the delicious flavors of the regular wings, but they're boneless, so they're easier to eat, and you don't have the mess after. I mean, a little bit of mess because of sauce and natural wing mess.
Yeah.
But you don't have a bunch of these bones anywhere, right? So if you're going to go through a drive-through at Popeyes, you're like, oh, man, I should probably get some wings. I'd probably get the boneless wings. Easier to eat, and then you don't have a bunch of chicken bones laying around your vehicle.
Who does that?
Well, not me. I'm just saying if you're thinking about it, it just logistically makes more sense if you're driving to get the boneless wings. But you can do that. I love this. Sobkirk says, this just announced Ross now hosts EST afternoon show. Congrats, Ross. And Rob C goes, Ross is a huge signing for EST. Handshake. I love this guy's just come in on July 15th and just won people over. Even the inbox was like, they were loving him too.
Good. Good.
They were loving him.
We've had Ross on for pregame a couple of times. I don't know if I had him on this past season, but seasons before, and he's always excellent. So great get. And we try to get Holty to see if we get a Condors perspective. Yeah, we're trying to talk a little bit about
Xavier Bourgault. I mean, we could maybe do that Wednesday if he's around.
He is around, but he's traveling today. Holty's a busy boy with the young family, whizzing some kids around from California to New England.
You know what he should do with those kids as he's whizzing them around? He should go through the drive-thru of Popeyes and get boneless chicken wings because it's easy for the kids to eat them and you don't end up with bones everywhere in your vehicle.
As Jody puts it in the nasty chat, so bigger chicken nuggets then? Yes.
That's pretty much what it is, but I mean,
they're great.
People love those too.
I do.
Pat in the county says, what a beauty. Ross was great. Awesome energy.
Yep.
And the Gourd father says, I have no idea who this guest is, but he's been great. Well, that's on us for maybe not resetting him, but he was outstanding. This is the first text ever that's come in from this guy. It says, keep doing a great job, folks. Any indication of whom the Oilers' next GM will be?
Still quiet. We had David Pagnotta on Hello Hockey on Saturday, by the way, last episode of the season this Saturday. We're trying to make it a big one for you. Very quiet still. And the other thing, too, was Pagnotta provided an update the last he had heard about Draisaitl.
Okay.
And he said, it sounds like there's been discussion of the focus shifting from an 8-year deal to 3 to 5 in that range in terms of years, and $13.5 million to around $14 million. So obviously above Matthews. The vitriol, like obviously we get clips and we put them up and it creates conversation. Hopefully it brings people to the show and to our station. But listen to the clip. Don't attack me and say I said something when I didn't say anything. Listen to the damn clip and then watch the show.
You're getting clipped on your own show?
Yeah.
I love it.
I'm being compared to Sarah. I'm not an insider. I give the information I get about the team, but Pagnotta was like, hey, here's what Pagnotta's right there. He's the rising star in the NHL when it comes to being an insider. And he's like, listen, there's talks now that they're looking maybe at the possibility of...
I'm sure they're going back and forth on both terms,
but
right?
the last he heard was 3 to 5 years instead of 8. And there's other... I love... And that's good because it creates conversation, especially in the offseason. People, you don't know what you're talking about. Saravalli said this. It's going to be like that. You know things change, right? These are negotiations.
Yeah.
And I just love
I'm sure the Oilers are trying to push him on an 8-year deal.
Of course.
And then they're like, well, what would a 3 or 4 or 5 year deal look like? And then they talk about those numbers, and then that gets out there. So
yeah.
Until something's locked in, who cares?
Nobody knows for sure.
mean, lock it in. Make it a win-win situation for both the team and the player, and everybody's happy, and he wins 4 Stanley Cups in the next 8 years.
Magic. But the worst is how it comes back, and you're like I try not to get into those threads. You know, you see them, and it's like, okay, wait, now we're getting stupid. I don't
really look at a lot of threads.
I don't. I get annoyed by them. I leave a lot of those conversations. But this was when it's like, okay, I didn't say that, you idiot.
I don't go to websites that I find to be a waste of time, and I mute everybody that even remotely bothers me on social media.
I know. The mute button has gotten more, which is great because it means people's watching, people are listening, people are paying attention, and that's what we want. But it gets dumb. You get the good conversation, the back and forth, and then you get the idiots that take it on the off ramp, going the wrong way.
Couple things that we still want to get to here. One would be my mix and match Monday lines.
Yes,
from this morning. We'll do that. I do want to quickly hit on this though. Chris over in the Nasty chat, and you can text us as well, all right? 780-218-9999. If you're listening on TuneIn, iHeart, or at EdmontonSportsTalk.com, please just send the link to EST to your friends. I know it's like, you're like, well, that doesn't make much, but it does, because then maybe they send it to another friend, and that's kind of how it works. If you're watching over on YouTube, sub to the channel. We would appreciate that. Hammer the thumbs up for us here as well. But Chris says, guys, what would Edmonton do if Broberg got offer sheeted by Calgary? The Flames Nation people really want to do it just to stick it to Edmonton. That's the state of the Flames right now. I saw that clip I think you're talking about popped up on an account that I guess I don't have muted. And they were basically just saying, I think it was Pinder and Warner were talking about, like, it'd be hilarious if they put them in it. Yeah,
They're
okay.
Right.
But here's the thing. I'm so sick and tired every single offseason of being like, offer sheet. In the last 11 years, 10 years, in the last 10 years, because you go back, Ryan O'Reilly was 2013. So since Ryan O'Reilly, the only offer sheets that have popped up here in the entire league for the last 10 years was the Habs going after Sebastian Aho.
Right.
And then the very next year, Carolina firing it back with Kotkaniemi.
And it didn't really go so good with Kotkaniemi.
Yeah, it was like, that's it. Yeah. Those are the only 2 offer sheets in the last decade. The only people who talk about offer sheets in the offseason are people who can't come up with other things to talk about. That's it. That's all. That's the end of it. If an offer sheet somehow miraculously gets pulled out of thin air, then yeah, we'll talk about it at the time. But I'm not sitting here pissing my pants and wasting time talking about an offer sheet because they just don't happen.
Let's play this game.
So that's all I have to say about offer sheet.
If that were to happen, Broberg would need to accept it, and the Flames would have to spend stupid money. And then it would cost them how many picks?
Well, there's different levels. If they were to do 4.5 for one, it would be a second.
Yes, right?
But
they don't happen. If it did, I'd be like, oh, good job, Calgary. I mean, you got a defenseman that's on the way up. Maybe he turns out. Maybe he doesn't. You're going to expose him to a really crappy team this season. Probably going to sewer his career.
I'll also say this. If Broberg is the type of guy who signs an offer sheet with the Flames, then good riddance anyway. I mean, you're sitting here with a chance to be a part of likely something special in Edmonton, and you're going to go down and try to play hardball by using the Calgary Flames to do it? No chance. Like, come on. That just doesn't make any sense. Big Slam Nasty says, Dusty seems hangry. Could use some Popeyes boneless wings. Hey, why not? Now you're getting it.
Nom.
Now you're getting it. So that's it. I had to address it. I saw
fun.
it over there. It's a waste of time. I mean, if there's 2 offer sheets that happened every year, then yes, that's a conversation. There's been 2 offer sheets that happened in the last 10 years, and one of them was a spite offer sheet.
And it blew up in Carolina's face.
Yes, exactly.
And it was Tom Dundon being spiteful.
He did not well.
He done did.
That was that.
He done did.
He done did himself in.
There you go.
We got that one. All right, so here's the line combinations that I rolled out. You remember how spectacular my first ones were?
They were amazing.
Matthew Savoy was on a 3rd line with Evander Kane and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Today's mix and match on the Nielsen Show, which is brought to you by Pro-Am Sports, the mix and match on Monday mornings. Okay, here's what I did. I went back with the same top line. Are you trying to look right now? I'm trying to lay this out for you.
Yeah,
you can't
I'm
read this writing in a
visualizing.
million years anyway.
Okay.
All right, so Skinner, McDavid, and Hyman stays together.
Okay.
Now we have to remember that the lineup I built last Monday was simulated on NHL 24, won the Stanley Cup.
For an entire season.
Won the Stanley Cup.
No injuries, though.
No injuries. Injuries were turned off, but I don't care. I mean, some injuries were turned off across the whole league, which is probably the best way to do it.
Okay.
They won the Stanley Cup in 5 games over the Toronto Maple Leafs. That was my first lineup.
Okay.
It was real nice. So I left the top line from that Stanley Cup winning group together. So McDavid with Skinner and Hyman.
Yeah.
Draisaitl with Arvidsson and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins.
Okay.
And I thought YouTube Trev made an interesting point. Like, we all remember the new Giamo Draisaitl line, and it was effective for a small stretch, but a good stretch. Arvidsson, by far, is a more impactful player than Kyler Yamamoto.
Correct.
So could that line really eat if they click? I think that could be good. I think it'd be a real nice line.
Those are 3 very good National Hockey League
Somebody
players.
actually said this morning on the show that this is the most likely lineup he thinks will happen on opening night.
Oh, okay.
How about that?
I like that.
We're not even to the bottom 6 yet.
I think that's great.
Oh, wait, I should clarify. In this world, this group of lines that I put together this morning, Matt Savoy starts in Bakersfield. Evander Kane is not available.
Oh.
Either on the LTIR
Okay.
or has been traded.
Okay.
Okay, so Evander Kane doesn't exist in this world. That's why I decided to put these lines together.
I'm okay with that.
Okay, so the first set of lines I did, it was Kane, Savoy, and Nuge on the third line. Kane's not available. Savoy's in Bako, and Nuge is in the top 6. So here's how it looks now.
Okay.
My third line is Adam Henrique between Connor Brown and Dylan Holloway.
Okay. That looks like a pretty good third line. Like, and I like what Holloway did in the postseason, and when he came back, he was great. He took that spot that was there in the last, 10 games he played roughly. And if he is in a spot where they put him and slot him in on the third line, left wing with Henrique and Brown, 2 veteran players, it looks like Brown's back on the up and up. That postseason run that he gave the Oilers and the fans was great. I think that's a nice spot for Holloway to start to find his game consistently night to night at the NHL level through the rigors of an 82-game season. He's got 2 guys that are very reliable beside him. If he makes a mistake, in theory, they're there to pick him up and cover for him. And then they have the offensive capability where he's not being hampered or limited to a typical checking role. That's a line that could provide offense.
I love the fact that you've got Holloway and Brown, who are 2 disruptors.
That's a
on
great
the wing with
description.
Adam Henrique.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that is, I think that could be a really good third line. Now, it doesn't have Janmark on it. I know everybody is all excited about but I mean,
Janmark had like 6 points in the regular season.
Janmark. Well, he fits in. The fourth line is not sexy. This is why you look at it. If you don't have Evander Kane somewhere in the mix, your fourth line, people get bumped down, people get moved around, gives you a little bit more versatility. Fourth line is Derek Ryan, Corey Perry, and Matthias Janmark.
Yeah, that's not sexy.
A veteran line. I don't think you're going to get a sniff of offense from that group together.
Yeah.
But what you really have to wonder about is, does it hurt you? Is that a line that could hurt you?
It should not. 8 points for Janmark in the regular season, so he snuck in a couple late in the year. Yeah, but those are 3 veteran guys that I think on most nights in the NHL, you're probably like, yeah, okay. A couple penalty killers on there. Corey Perry is Corey Perry now.
Yeah.
Sure. I don't know. That's a good lineup.
It's not sexy. Like, the group is not as deep if Kane and Savoy aren't around or whatever.
Who's
right?
your 13th forward? James Hamblin?
Well, that was a good question. I never even got to the 13th forward. I don't know
Peterson?
who would be your 13th forward in that spot.
I don't know. I don't think it's Savoy. I don't think you're putting Savoy
No,
in
you're
a
not making
situation
Savoy
like
your
that.
13th. I mean,
No.
you could do maybe a Hamblin there.
There's some options.
It gives you a different look speed-wise.
Yeah.
If like Perry or Ryan are coming out,
Right.
That's something that you could look at.
Hamblin has a certain disruptability to his game. But yeah, those 3 lines, those top 3 lines,
top nine's real nice.
those are fantastic.
Yeah, that
And
top
then the
line's
4th
real
line,
nice.
it's like, yeah, well, those are all veteran guys who have a purpose.
Yeah.
2 of them kill penalties on that 4th line, and Ryan and Janmark. And then Corey Perry. Again, Corey Perry is, I don't know, Corey Perry. Like, I thought he was done. Not the case.
Yeah, that's the one guy I was surprised they brought back, but obviously they love him in the room. I mean, that's a straight-up
Belsey-
room play, I think.
Belsey, as much as he is a rat on the ice and has been an Oiler killer throughout his career, Belsey says he's one of the best teammates he's ever played with.
Yeah.
They were on the World Junior team
Yeah.
together.
So that was that 05 team.
Yeah, and he says he's a great guy. So off-ice stuff, take it aside for a second. In the room, on the team, this guy knows where it's at.
Second set of line combinations for the summer. We'll do it again next Monday, Mix and Match Mondays, 7:05, Nielsen Show, brought to you by Pro-Am Sports. Today, Skinner, McDavid, Hyman, Nuge, Draisaitl, Arvidsson, Holloway, Henrique, Brown, Janmark, Ryan, and Perry. Something you can discuss with people at the water cooler. 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999. Obviously, portions of the Oil Stream brought to you by our exclusive betting partner over at Coolbet. If you've not yet signed up for an account at Coolbet, please do so. Coolbet.com. Use the code LOCKSHOP when you sign up. You get a 100% deposit bonus on your initial deposit up to $200. And we'll continue to get to a few of those text messages as we work our way through the show. If you want to bet on it, it's a light night in sports. If you want to bet on anything at Coolbet, home run derby, tons of different options there. We talked about it in the Lock Shop earlier today here on Edmonton Sports Talk. But yeah, check out Coolbet.
They had the Zach Hyman Golf Classic, charity golf classic
they
today,
did.
and McDavid and Hyman spoke, and Connor Brown. They were all praising Jeff Jackson for his off-season work, obviously, and apparently the guys are already back in the gym.
Working out.
Yeah. Now, to what extent? They're not on the ice, but to what extent? Hyman said he got in there like 2 weeks after the loss, so last week, and I guess McDavid started to pop in there as well.
I saw McDavid. I think I saw his opening drive.
Was it good?
Oh, he kind of looked like us.
That's okay.
Yeah, no, it humanized him. Like,
So?
I watched it. It looked like he hit like a 3-wood or something. And I just always expect McDavid to be brilliant at everything he does. And I went and looked at it and I was like, I don't know if that was a great shot. I think it was just an okay shot.
He's in play.
I
People are on.
got some time for it. I was
on
just
the-
like, wow, Connor McDavid is just average at golf.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
That's okay. He'll have lots of time to get really, really good at golf, especially when he's done playing hockey.
When he retires,
And a good chunk of his life is remaining, and hopefully he's very healthy body-wise and mind, and he can become.
See, here it
very
is.
good
You
at
tell
golf.
me what you think. What do you think of this swing? Sorry, we don't have it up on there.
He's
but
a lefty.
The show's almost over. But
Let's do.
he's a
do,
lefty.
Do your best
I love
Jim
it.
Nance. Do your best Jim Nance.
Now here's Connor
The
McDavid
3-wood, lining it up.
stepping up to the tee box right here on the one at the Zach Hyman taking photos, and McDavid steps up. Looks like he's got a 3-wood here, and like where'd that go?
Down the middle, but it slopes to the right, so it's going to come down. I think he's in play.
Do you think he hit the fairway?
Yeah, I think it caught the right edge.
Right edge.
Right edge.
Just didn't smash it. Hit it low. Maybe like I lose it. I don't know where it went.
Yeah, no. The swing's nice though. It's not beautiful.
Yeah.
But it's good.
Yeah, the
It's all
follow
right.
through looks like one of our fun. Like, look at his
Yeah.
legs. He's jacked. Let's see here. I want to watch this follow through one more time.
And what I appreciate is he's wearing
Yeah, the hip movement wasn't.
no-show socks.
There's a drone there as well. flying
No-show
around.
socks. He's not wearing stupid ankle socks. He's comfortable, stylish, elegant on the golf course.
You didn't see his socks?
They're no-shows.
What do you mean they're no-show? I see them. How can they be no-show socks?
Pardon me, they're ankle socks.
They're ankle socks. Just like me.
No.
I'm wearing ankle socks today.
Oh, you
buddy.
are today. I'm wearing no-show ankle socks.
Yeah. No big deal. Ooh, I think I pulled something there.
You Fajardoed it?
Oh, God. Yeah, maybe that was the
Soft J,
case.
Fajardoed?
Jody asking for deep pairings. Like I said, I don't care about the blue line.
We don't care.
We are worried about offensive lines. That's what we're worried about. And we'll continue to be worried about it for the rest of the summer.
Smitty the Welder, hello, Smitty the Welder, says, I would like to see Noah Philp push for a spot at 4C, big right-hand center. Yes, I will just highly unlikely. The guy did not play hockey last year.
Yeah, it's probably going to take him a little bit of time to ramp
Yeah.
up. I called his games with the Golden Bears for a few years. He's a hell of a player.
Yep. Some
But
stuff.
when you step away from a year and you go through some of the stuff that you
Yeah.
went through, like there's no rush. There's no rush. When did Derek Ryan make it to the National Hockey League?
27?
Yeah, at least.
28,
So there's time.
like that.
There's time for Phil.
Philp and his brother Luke, also really good. I think he's still in the Flames organization, last I checked.
The Flames are Chicago.
Oh, maybe
I've got a
he went
rookie
over to
card of him in Chicago.
Hang on.
I want to just get to this one more message in the nasty chat. Hey, hammer the thumbs up for us on YouTube before you leave. And if you're listening on TuneIn or iHeart, we're at EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Nielsen Show replay is coming up as well.
Chicago. And he made his NHL debut.
I know so much about the Philp brothers, you know.
Good for, but he was with
that was
Stockton.
straight up just off. That's where he got his start.
Yeah.
And then anyway, Penner's Pancake says and this is a big if we ever get to the stage where we're discussing Edmonton Elks offensive and defensive combos, wide receivers, running backs, and QB options. They will pack 40,000 into Commonwealth every game, guaranteed. Can you imagine
I hope
that happens, man.
I
hope that happens. We're like, where's Zach Mathis fit? And I was like, remember the day I thought this guy was going to be a bum, and instead he became an all-time Canadian great?
Gavin Cobb.
Mind you, I got a text from somebody over there after.
Were they mad at
said
us?
he might not be as hyped up as I passed along on the hangout today. I'll just be honest. I'm not hiding
You're getting
anything.
the clap of disappointment.
I could have hit that like a coward, but I'm not. So, yeah.
Don't trust them.
Oh, that's the host of the Elks, or pardon me, the Green and Gold kickoff and post game show. Matthew Warnick says, "Don't trust them."
I would love to get to that spot though.
That would be amazing.
I would love to be if we're like,
that would be amazing.
They need to play Curly Gittins in the slot more and move Dylan Mitchell inside.
Hergy Mayala needs more targets.
Finally, Hergy Mayala is having a breakout season. Why didn't they go get him years ago? I want to get to that spot. I mean, our show this morning and the hangout today was kind of like that.
That was fun.
We're there.
Actually, the Als guys, when I was on their sidelines a few weeks ago when the Als were here, they were talking to me. They're like, Mayala's pretty good. Hey, I'm like, yeah, he is. And they're like, it's too bad we lost him. Like,
yeah, he's real good.
Yeah.
That catch he made yesterday, basically in double coverage by the time it dropped in there. Outstanding stuff. Canadian guy. Former first-round pick, I believe. All right.
Good player.
That is going to do it. Shout out Jeff Jackson for pulling the trigger on another trade and acquiring a guy named Roby Jarventie. The Oil Stream brought to you in part by our exclusive betting partners at Coolbet and Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen, and presented to you by Boston Pizza. Go find yourself a spot on a BP's lounge for the rest of the week and stay there. See how long you can stay there before they kick you out. That's a fun task.
Sure.
Somebody on TikTok would do it just to be cool.
Of course they
hide
would.
under the table when they close.
It's all about the TikTok and Instagram stories.
For Zactica, who hung around over there, and Tommy Gazzola, I am Dustin Nielson. Thank you very much. Nielsen Show replay coming up on TuneIn, iHeart, and EdmontonSportsTalk.com. If you're over on YouTube, talk to you tomorrow morning with the Nielsen Show bright and early at 6 o'clock. Have a great day.